Sportex. Subscribe now.
MotoGP 2017 season review. We are lucky enough to be witnessing the golden era of MotoGP. The 2017 season was packed full of highs and lows, twists and turns, and was incredibly unpredictable. Under the floodlights of Qatar back in March, all eyes turned to Maverick Viñales, who had been dubbed the Alien just weeks before, after positive winter test sessions saw him rise to the top on the new-to-him factory Yamaha M1. From the get-go he seemed determined not to be just Valentino Rossi's teammate, and opened the season with a race win. Trailing behind him in second was the ever-experienced Andrea Dovizioso on the Ducati Desmosedici he knows so well, with 9-time world champion Valentino Rossi a second and a half behind him. Little did we know, Dovizioso was just setting out his path to becoming a serious title contender. The eyes that weren't on Viñales were on reigning champion Marc Marquez, who only picked up a fourth-place finish as he couldn't find the pace on his Honda RC213V to keep up with the front-runners. MotoGP rookie Johann Zarco really came of age in the first round. As soon as he swung his leg over the satellite monster Yamaha, it was all too obvious that he was destined for great things. The double Moto2 world champion easily fought his way to the front of the pack, but perhaps became a little too confident on his debut and slid out of the race. As the championship moved into the second round in Argentina, Viñales picked up an easy victory, almost 3 seconds clear of teammate Rossi, with Britain's Cal Crutchlow rounding out the podium. The action-packed Grand Prix at the Termas de Rio Hondo track saw 4 of the top names left in the dirt. As he struggled to get to grips with the new Ducati after switching from Yamaha, Jorge Lorenzo slid into the gravel on the first corner, bringing his second GP on the day's Mo to a premature end. In fact, the Argentinian Grand Prix wasn't great for either Ducati rider, as Dovizioso also failed to make the line. For the second year in a row, the Italian was taken out by another rider, but this time it wasn't by his own teammate. Unusually, Marquez also didn't make the finish. After securing pole position he got a great start of the line, but with 22 laps to go, he succumbed to the gravel, handing the lead to Viñales. Just a few laps later, his teammate Dani Pedrosa followed suit, and the Repsol Honda team left Argentina with a bitter taste in their mouths. Team Suzuki X-Star had it bad too, with Andrea Dovizioso receiving a ride-through penalty for a jump start and his teammate Alex Rins suffering a crash. A weekend to forget for everyone, bar the factory Yamaha team. And then came Marquez territory, Circuit of the Americas, Texas. The Spaniard has an impeccable record at the American track, winning every race from pole position since it returned to the calendar. It looked as if Viñales could be the one to shake his record, but he crashed out early on, killing his one chance at ending Marquez's winning streak. Zarco impressed once more, but managed to ruffle some feathers in the process. The Frenchman forced his way past Rossi for third, running the Italian out by the dawn to the gravel. Rossi rejoined in front of Zarco but was later given a 0.3-second penalty for the advantage he gained in doing so. It didn't seem to bother the doctor too much, as he worked his way up to second place and left Texas with a championship lead. Lorenzo started to show improvement in America, qualifying in 6th on the notoriously difficult-to-handle Desmosedici and ending the weekend in 9th. Pedrosa also managed to make amends for Argentina, bringing home 3rd for the Repsol Honda team and giving them their first double podium of the year. After Texas came the first of the Spanish rounds in Jerez, where Pedrosa obliterated the field after topping the first 3 practice sessions and putting his RCV on pole position. He crossed the line 6 seconds ahead of his teammate, who had to settle for second when Pedrosa opened a gap he could not close. Lorenzo finally took his first Ducati podium on home soil, finishing 3rd after qualifying 8th. Australian Jack Miller had a promising weekend on his EG0,0 Mark VDS machine, ending every session in the top 10. However, his race was brought to a premature end as he attempted a move on Alvaro Bautista, who crashed out and took the Aussie with him. But Miller couldn't, and wouldn't, let sleeping ducks lie. and after he picked himself up out of the gravel he stormed into Bautista and shoved him back into the dirt before kicking the tank of the innocent Esper Ducati and storming off. Race direction put the incident under investigation, and Miller was fined €1,000. Viñales returned to peak form when the grid rolled into Le Mans, as he put the M1 on pole and followed up with the win. But where he succeeded, Rossi failed. The Italian pushed to the limit and then some, running wide with 3 laps to go while challenging for the lead and subsequently dumping his Yamaha in the gravel as he chased his first victory in France since 2008. Zarco followed up with second in front of his home crowd, while Pedrosa continued to impress in third. Mugello was where Dovizioso really started to show just how much he wanted the title. He took his third Premier Class win in front of his home crowd and became the first Italian to win an Italian GP on an Italian bike since 1974. He worked hard to keep Viñales and Danilo Petrucci at bay but ultimately came home just over a second ahead of pole man Viñales in second. Marquez had an extremely testing weekend, especially as he ran around in 6th place struggling to get past Bautista's satellite Ducati. In fact, it was a testing weekend for both Honda riders as Pedrosa crashed into the satellite Honda of Crutchlow, sending them both into the gravel and bringing the race to a premature end. From then on wins swapped between Marquez and Dovizioso, with only Rossi innocent and Pedrosa in Valencia providing relief. The title went down to the final round in Valencia, in a tense battle between both Marquez and Dovizioso that ended in heartbreak for the latter. Although Pedrosa won the race, Marquez won the war as he clinched his 6th world title at just 24 years old. The chances of Dovizioso taking title honors were slim, and they were demolished completely as he crashed out of a frustrating race. Team orders told Lorenzo to let Dovizioso pass, and one suggested mapping 8, which clearly meant let him through as there aren't 8 engine maps on a GP bike, popped up on his dashboard. He should have done exactly that. But Lorenzo knows best, apparently. He continued to push on in front, but the small mistake sat him upright which let Dovizioso through with minimal effort. The Ducatis didn't finish the final race of the season, but judging by their overall performance and progression they'll be a force to be reckoned with next year. The 2018 grid is now fully formed, but no real changes as most riders still have 1 year left on their contracts. There will be 4 rookies, Xavier Simeon on the Avinci Ducati taking the place of the departed Loris Baz, Takaki Nakagami on the second LCR Honda machine and an all-rookie Honda Mark VDS squad, formed of Moto2 runner-up Thomas Luthi and 2017 Moto2 world champion Franco Morbidelli. Jack Miller will move to the Pramac Ducati team to replace Brit Scott Redding, who moves to Aprilia at the expense of fellow Brit Sam Lowes, who will move back down to Moto2. Factory KTM test rider Miko Kallio has been confirmed as a wild card for 4 rounds, Sach centering, Red Bull Ring, Aragon and Valencia as he fights for a permanent spot on the grid in 2019. It is impossible to predict what next season will bring, but if it's anything like this season you can expect thrills, spills and quite possibly some falling out between riders. Marc Marquez will be aiming to clinch title number 7, while Jorge Lorenzo will be searching for that desperately wanted first victory on the Ducati. Andrea Dovizioso will want to make up for his mistake in Valencia, and Donny Pedrosa will probably want to become the bride, rather than the bridesmaid he has been so far. Maverick Viñales will surely pick up the pieces of a broken second half of the season. And Valentino Rossi? You can never rule out the doctor.